Hey yo! Hey everyone, Andrew here bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing a special review. Today we're going to be doing my 100% fully functional, battle ready, practical, custom Zelda Master Sword. Now, what do I mean by fully functional, battle ready, and practical? You can take this sword and bring it into combat. You can use it in sword play. You can practice with it, and it will be fully functional and 100% practical. The blade is made out of a carbon steel, and carbon steel is the material that you want to use when making a real sword, because it's flexible enough and durable enough to withstand blows. Stainless steel swords are nice and all, but really under practical circumstances they would never functionally work. You bring it out and you hit other swords with it, the steel is going to shatter. It's not durable enough and it's not flexible enough. Carbon steel is. This sword is very well balanced. Very well balanced, and I classify it as a hand-and-a-half sword. Now you're probably wondering how I made this sword, and let me tell you, it didn't happen overnight. It took quite a few years to plan this out, find all the pieces, all the money used in it. It was very expensive, and it took a lot of time and a lot of effort. The first thing you need to realize when you're making your own master sword is it's not a real sword. It's a fictional sword. It's fantasy. So it doesn't have a classification. It's not a long sword, it's not a hand-and-a-half sword, it's not a bastard sword or a katana or a scimitar or anything like that. It's a fantasy sword. So you're going to have to pick a classification that fits well with the sword. I decided a hand-and-a-half sword because it's about the size of the master sword and it fits its parameters pretty well. The next thing you need to do is find all the pieces necessary to make the sword. I decided to take the pieces from two different swords. The handle itself came from a Master Sword replica, which you can find on eBay for around $70. The handle is absolutely beautiful. What I did is I got the sword and I took it apart and I had the handle. Next was to get the blade, and of course I needed to get a functional carbon steel blade. So I decided to take a full tang blade from a hand-and-a-half sword. Now the next step is putting the two pieces together. There's a lot of things that you're going to come in with that could cause trouble for you, because you're taking a handle from a display sword and you're trying to fit it with a functional blade from a real functional sword. The first problem was making sure everything fit. I had to take the handle, remold the handle, fill in different sections of it, use different materials, just to make sure that the sword would stay in place and would fit in there. In addition to that, I had to bring the blade to a machinist to kind of get this bottom part right here shaved down just a little so it could fit into the handle a bit better. So that was the first step, and it worked out pretty well. The sword and the blade fit perfectly, like a glove. The next step is making sure that everything sticks together. You don't want it falling apart on you. And for the most part, everything fits perfectly. The only thing is that this section right here is a little loose, but however that's okay because it doesn't dampen the functionality of the sword. I fixed that easily by putting two bolts right in here. The next thing you need to worry about is balance, whether or not the sword balances with the handle. And this was a big concern for me because if it's not balanced, it's not going to be functional. Luckily, I can say that with all the modifications I made to the handle, it is balanced. Now, the last thing is to make sure this is actually practical. It can actually work under combat. I did multiple tests with multiple different swords. I used it to cut down things, and I actually brought it to one of the black belts that I take class with, and he teaches katana, and he knows a lot about swords, and he gave his stamp of approval. This sword is 100% real, 100% functional, 100% practical. So it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money, and a lot of planning to make. But the end result is beautiful. I could not be happier with it. It is my favorite sword. It is just... I'm so happy to have it. It's amazing. And look at it. Just take a look at it. It's incredibly beautiful. And with all carbon steel swords, you gotta clean the blade. After every time you use it, you gotta clean the blade. The blade itself, you should clean it. Even if you don't use it, clean it at least once every 2 weeks. I clean it once every week because I like to make sure it stays clean. But it is absolutely a beautiful blade. Look at it. Look look at it. This sword is amazing. And again, like I said, it's my favorite sword. I could not be happier. So, I would like to continue to talk to you guys about this sword, but I gotta meet a girl about the Triforce. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask, and I'll be happy to answer them. But with that said, I gotta end this review here. This is Andrew, saying peace out for now.